Today we're taking a closer look at the fast-moving world of artificial intelligence. AI is here. Seattle University is hosting its annual Ethics and Tech Conference, and one of the voices leading that conversation is Professor Onur Bakiner, Director of the Technology Ethics Initiative. Professor, thanks for being here today.
Thank you.
It's great to see you in person. Look at a couple of humans talking about AI. As we talk about this topic, it's obviously everywhere, every day. What do you see in artificial intelligence is the biggest shift currently?
Lately, what I notice is that smart, educated people who predict an optimistic, bright future and those who predict a bleak future are increasingly polarized. That seems to be one of the more interesting shifts to me.
What are some of the cautions, some of the red flags? I mean, some people don't have much knowledge of AI beyond that they've got ChatGPT on their phone. They don't quite understand some of this stuff. What are some of the risks that we should be worried about?
Yeah, sometimes generative AI products, so say chatbots, hallucinate. That is to say, they basically give out incorrect, false information. And sometimes humans or algorithms spread that information innocently, and sometimes bad actors basically use that for misinformation, disinformation campaigns. Another thing is that sometimes data scientists call this garbage in, garbage out. So if the underlying data that goes into these algorithms have human biases built into them, then the results end up being biased. Also, these AI tools don't necessarily have a clear understanding of human culture, our nuances, and so sometimes they may give dangerous advice to vulnerable people. And then there are also system-level issues like the environmental impact of generative AI models, of course, the labor force considerations, and so on and so forth.
What about the rules and regulations? Where are we at currently? Because I know federally or even statewide, a lot of people assume that there's going to be some guardrails out there protecting us.
Yeah, great question. The European Union has a law called the AI Act, which bans unacceptably risky products or systems, and then sets compliance requirements for a host of other products. In the United States, there is no federal legislation. But states and sometimes city governments have legislation around surrounding themes like deepfakes or algorithmic decision making and so on and so forth. So it's an evolving field, and I think that states are going to take the lead in passing some of the sort of legislation around artificial intelligence in the future.
Folks who want to learn more, certainly in the business world, business owners might want to have a deeper understanding of this. Talk about your new book, Governing AI.
Yeah, so the book is about getting AI right, and I identify 3 models of addressing some of the risks and harms of AI. One of them is technical solutions, so when technology tries to find solutions to the problems that it creates. Another one is when businesses regulate themselves voluntarily, when they set up oversight boards, councils, etc. And then a third model is, of course, law and policy. Now, I argue that all of these models have their pluses and some drawbacks, some minuses as well. And what I recommend for citizens is to not let all of decision-making be made by businesses or lawmakers, but instead each one of us should make informed decisions about developing and using AI tools at every level, in government for sure, but also in the workplace, at home, and so on and so forth.
Professor, take us on campus. I mean, how is Seattle University right now sort of trying to help actively prepare students for a future probably driven by AI?
Yeah, absolutely. Seattle University takes pride in educating the whole person. And so what that means in the age of AI is that on the one hand, we want to make sure that our students have the technical skills to develop and use AI tools. But on the other hand, they also have the people skills, the communication skills, the critical thinking skills to make informed decisions about artificial intelligence. So we're starting an AI literacy program. That's one of the things that we're doing. We have
another component with you were talking about the literacy. I know is the responsibility, right? It's knowing what to do with it once you understand it.
Yeah, exactly. So understanding how AI may be used in ethical, safe, responsible ways, and ultimately, this is not about banning AI or using AI in every classroom. Rather, this is about making decisions at every level. If AI helps us to improve our educational experience, all the better. But there are some situations where not using any technology actually does help develop critical thinking skills. So that's where we are.
CLU's Ethics and Tech Conference coming up next month. For the viewer purposes, if they're not going to attend, what's one guiding principle you might leave people with as we're all trying to wrap our brain around AI?
Absolutely, yeah. We have the conference coming up on May 15th. Everybody is invited. The one idea is that, one, we need to really be in dialogue as a society. And for each one of us, we should make decisions about whether we want to use AI in our lives or not, based on whether or not it's useful for us. It's not because somebody else is using it. It's not because we're afraid of being left behind, because that tool is useful. And what that means is that we want to understand what that tool does, what it cannot do, and I think also very importantly, whether it poses any risks to us or to the communities we are in, especially vulnerable communities.
Professor Onur Bakiner, author of Governing AI, thank you so much for being here.